Hamas has responded to a ceasefire proposal for Gaza that was put forward by US Middle East Envoy Steve Witkoff and backed by Israel. Reports say the original proposal would pause the fighting in Gaza for 60 days, allowing for the release of hostages and entry of more humanitarian aid into the territory. In a statement, Hamas said it was looking for a permanent end to the war and a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Now let's cross over to Jerusalem to speak to our correspondent, Tania Krämer. Tania, what more can you tell us?
Well, what we know so far is that they have responded. That is actually what the statement is saying, that they released a short while ago. They've been saying they submitted their response to US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff's proposal over a ceasefire and hostage deal that has been much talked about over the past week now. In this statement, they expressed their willingness to release 10 living hostages from Gaza, in addition to the return of 18 bodies of those hostages that have been killed, in exchange to an agreed number of Palestinian prisoners that are held in Israeli prisons. Also, this statement reiterates their stance that they think this proposal would lead to a permanent ceasefire, an Israeli withdrawal of the Israeli forces, and also the flow of aid. What it doesn't say really is that they're accepting the terms of this proposal. This is merely saying we have submitted our response, and there's also, there's some reports now saying that they have submitted some reservations, some amendments reportedly. So we have to wait for more details to emerge here in regards to that in the coming hours.
DW's Tania Krämer in Jerusalem. Thank you very much, Tania.
That was Tania Krämer speaking to my colleague Gehad Elfers a short while ago. Well, the UN says dozens of aid trucks have been stormed on their way to distribution centres in Gaza. It's the latest incident involving aid deliveries since Israel eased its 11-week blockade on the territory. Limited supplies are now getting in, but the World Food Programme says the risk of starvation is high, and Israel's ongoing military offensive is forcing thousands to evacuate to ever-shrinking areas.
Fleeing from bombs, searching for food, Gazans face daily displacement in the quest to survive. Here in Gaza City in the north, explosions followed closely after Israeli evacuation orders. Not everyone was able to escape in time.
An hour and a half ago, they called us and ordered us to evacuate with the neighbours. We evacuated the whole area and they struck that house. We evacuated the camp, and those beyond the camp died. They were torn to pieces.
In the south, areas once thought to be safer were also under attack. Bombs fell near the Al-Amal hospital in Khan Yunis, which was exempt from Israeli evacuation orders issued just over a week ago. Multiple strikes across Gaza killed dozens of people on Friday, according to the Civil Defense Agency. More families found it was their turn to grieve in front of the Nasser hospital. Other hospitals can process neither the living nor the dead. The Al-Auda hospital was forced to close following evacuation orders and repeated strikes nearby. The World Health Organization says northern Gaza is now without a functioning hospital.
God willing, you will continue to work in the near future. We will be back.
When not evacuating, Gazans are queuing. Limited aid deliveries are reaching community kitchens, but some has been looted. The United Nations says armed gangs had stolen large quantities of medical equipment and food from its warehouses and trucks on Friday. Other aid deliveries are being blocked by Israeli protesters. Here at the Krämer Shalom crossing in Gaza's south, protesters say Hamas could end the suffering by releasing the remaining hostages taken in its October 7 terrorist attack on Israel.
The war will end when Hamas is not in power in Gaza and when we have our hostages back. We already said this many times, if Hamas wants, the war in Gaza to end, they need to give our hostages back. There's no other way.
With Israel and Hamas still at odds over the terms of a US-brokered ceasefire proposal, a daily bucket of rice is as much as most Gazans can now hope for.
Let's now go to Rachael Cummings. She is the humanitarian director for Save the Children based in Gaza. Rachael, how is the aid distribution currently going?
The situation in Gaza for children and their families is absolutely desperate. There is no real significant distribution of any supplies to children or their families in Gaza. Since the 2nd of March, there has been a complete blockade, and it's only 10 days ago where the UN have been able to bring in around 200 trucks of essential supplies, including some food, some flour, some medical supplies. But the situation is absolutely desperate. So there is no at-scale food or other distributions for people here.
Now, from what we know, people in Gaza have to walk to the aid centers to get food. What about those who can't reach them?
Well, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, who established distribution points in southern Rafah last week, they are not providing humanitarian assistance. They're not alleviating the suffering for people who are most in need. So yes, children, women, people with disabilities are not able to access those. But the images we saw of those distributions that were taking place last week were undignified and dangerous. This is not how we should be providing assistance to populations in Gaza. Save the Children, other partners, we know how to connect with communities. We know how to provide distributions, and that is not how to do it.
Now, how is your organization helping on the ground?
It's increasingly difficult, but we continue to do what we can. We are providing health services in clinics. We're running nutrition points to try and identify children who are malnourished and treat them. And we're also providing some learning opportunity and some child protection services. But it's very, very difficult. Children are desperately in need. We are able to provide, we know, not enough, because the needs are extraordinary. One of the risks we're running, of course, is moving around Gaza is very dangerous for our teams. So trying to provide a degree of safety and security for our teams to be able to go out and support communities. We know what we need to do in Gaza. We just need to be allowed to do it.
Now, you mentioned the relatively newly founded Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Are they effective in their help they're trying to deliver, or have they become more effective since the chaotic scenes we've seen last week?
We have no evidence to say that this is an effective way of providing assistance. So yes, they are ineffective. As I said, WFP food partners in Gaza know how to provide at scale distributions for food at household level, engaging with communities, providing people with security and providing people with dignity to be able to go to receive their food or to receive their food. So the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is not able to provide the food assistance that's required in the way that it should be required in managing the population that is so desperate across the whole of Gaza.
Now, the foundation has also said that it will open more distribution centers. Do you see any evidence of that is going forward? Very briefly, if you can.
I haven't seen any evidence. We've heard that there's one going to be opening in the middle area in south of Nusrat. I don't know. We haven't seen any evidence of that, but there are many, many organisations ready to provide this assistance.
Rachael Cummings there with Save the Children in Gaza. Many thanks for your time, Rachael.
Thanks.